Hello friends, this is a video about the transit of the planet Pluto through the sign of Aquarius. I have already talked about this transit in some of my videos that are on YouTube already. There is also an older shortened video on this subject, and this transit it's called Pluto in Aquarius from 2023, Total Transformation of Humanity and Social Structures. I also talked a lot about Pluto in the video for the year 2023. The name of this video is Year 2023 in Search of Land. I suggest you to watch this video, as I will not repeat now everything I talked there about, but I will remind you somehow what was it about. This transit can be talked about for days. And here I just want to make a first brief summary of what Pluto in Aquarius can mean. I'm shooting this video in Giza. It couldn't be better. And now that's why I'm in the corner here, that you can see these mysterious planets over there behind me. So mysterious pyramids hide ancient knowledge that is hidden from us, and only some wise researcher here and there, who is lucky not to be removed from the public, reveals archaic knowledge to us. There are such. Aquarius is a sign of ancient knowledge and also of futuristic discoveries. And I assume that during the next 250 years, humanity will have the opportunity to combine them. I mean, in that time when they will invent new technology, it will not be futuristic. But today we often speak about Aquarius as archaeofuturistic sign. So it has something very archaic and something that is completely new for us now. Well, yes, I'm here in Cairo, in Egypt, so there are so many wonderful things here that are forgotten, or we don't know why they were such, what was the purpose of them. And it's very sad that this beautiful country is still the colony of some awful people, but hopefully not forever. In short, Pluto enters Aquarius for the first time in 250 years. The last time it was in Aquarius was in the period from 1777 to 1798. And also before that, Pluto was in Aquarius between 1532 and 1553. And also before that, from the year 1286 to 1307, 14th century, and so on. So this 2023, Pluto will be in Aquarius only for a short time, from March 24th until June 11th. But certainly some of us can see which messages it carries. It will maybe not be easy for everybody to understand what is it about, but some of us can understand it maybe. So now we have time to prepare for this transit during this year and during the year 2024, and then finally in 2025, Pluto will definitely enter the sign of Aquarius and will stay there until the year 2044. By the way, Pluto has an irregular orbit and stays differently in different signs of the zodiac. You know that many people talk about the age of Aquarius, so that's why this archetype is so important now while Pluto is there, because we are actually preparing for the age of Aquarius, which will last for more than 2 millenniums. But there are different calculations, and people do not agree when this Aquarian era really starts. Personally, I think that Aquarius appears as a dominant archetype in the collective unconscious since the beginning of the 20th century because of the corporations, because of communism, because of America that was invented as a melting pot, especially in last century, because of internet and many other things. How does Aquarius energy manifest itself today? Well, while some talk about transhumanism, chipping, and robotization of the man and society, others talk about the golden age and the complete freedom of man. Free energy also. and association that is on free basis among people. So what can be of those, That's the question. It is certain that this old system that we lived in has been overcome, and whether the robotization of a man or the liberation of a man will come, we will see. It can be liberation of colonies, definite. It can be also end of castes in India. It can be liberation of women in many parts of the world, and many, many similar things on this social level. But we will see what that can really mean and when it will come, maybe next 100 years, maybe before. Pluto is just preparing now for that big shift. In a recently recorded video called Saturn in Pisces, Historical Parallels, I explained that America was created in 1776 when Pluto was at the 27th degree of Capricorn. And already in 1777, Pluto entered the sign of Aquarius and thus marked a new era for a greater part of the world while forgetting the terrible genocide that was committed against the population of the North, Central, and South America. Their freedom have spread to Europe, and then years after the creation of America, the French Revolution broke out in Europe in 1789 and 1790 until 1799. And in those years, Saturn was in Pisces and Pluto was in Aquarius, which we are expecting now in 2023 and 2024. The same combination. But all of this is just the preparation for the new events that will quickly follow while Pluto is in Aquarius, and it's making special aspects with certain planets. Namely, from 2024 to 2029, Pluto will, in a wider orbit, meet with Uranus. They will create the trine. And this is extremely important for us because Uranus is going to be Pluto's ruler while Pluto stays in Aquarius. So if you want to know what is happening with Pluto while Pluto is in Aquarius, follow the transits of Uranus and aspects of those two. So now when they create this trine, these can be brilliant moments for the humanity. Let's recall the aspects of Uranus and Pluto before to make it clear what is really happening now and what will be in the future. So they begin their current cycle with 3 conjunctions that happen in the years 1965 and 1966, and it happened in Virgo sign. Then actually we can say mafia, conquer America. The Cold War was at its peak. The destruction of the ecosystem begins. The massive terror of pharmacomafia begins. The colonies were kind of liberated, but only formally, and many things like that happen. Then the phase of the square and the greatest tension between Uranus and Pluto happen again in the same their cycle, and that was in the years between 2012 and 2015, when the Maidan took place in Ukraine, and when fascism reached its new peak. And of course, it became clear after 2014 and Maidan in Ukraine that this conflict between these two great powers must happen in some way. So what else happened in these years between 2012 and 2015, we actually don't know, but it's extremely important time. Maybe we will learn about that. And everything that happened in that time actually led to this huge crisis that happened in 2020. I just remind you that because there is nothing new in this world, that in the period from 1932 to 1934, also when it was fascism in Europe, Uranus and Pluto were also in square, as in between 2012 and 2015. So now you would ask yourself, do we always have to have fascism when there is a square between these two planets? The answer is no, but it's always some big trouble. So now, almost for 7 years, from 2024 to 2029, more precisely from 2026 to 2028, Pluto and Uranus will make a trine, which is the peak of cooperation or meetings of these two planets, and in a positive sense. So we said before about squares, which are problem, and now we are speaking about the trine, which is fantastic aspect. And if we add to that, as we spoke about in some previous videos, that Saturn and Neptune will form conjunction in 2025 and 2026, then we have something to look forward. I personally believe that the new system that will come by that time, economic, political, social, and any other system, will be much more human, and that positive forces that are fighting now will win in the world. I think that many technologies that they already have, but used against man, will be given to people for their benefit. These are certainly various nanotechnologies, knowledge about orgone energies, the importance of ether, this knowledge that they have about Tesla waves and things like that. But we will talk about that sometime in the future. Maybe it's still early for that. Along with the political and ideological struggle in between 2012 and 2015, there was also a struggle for energy replacement. Let's say it naively like that. Pardon. And there were and still there are few options. And this is also a big thing in our world now. One option would be to continue as before, which is actually impossible, to explore the Earth resources as before. So, okay, they said, well, we can't go that way. Let's see something new. And then there is there was the idea to replace this cruel exploitation of the planet by green energy now, to change it for green energy, which was pushed by those who are around Schwab and Davos. But that was only the mask, they actually spoke about nature and everything, but in essence, it was fraud. That was the second solution. Then the third solution would be to use in a massive way, nuclear energy, which is quite logical in the age of Aquarius, because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and its ruler Pluto. And Pluto speaks about resources, So I would not be surprised if we continue with nuclear energy. And there is the fourth possibility, which is fantastic. This is to use free energy, which would mean further developing that what Nikola Tesla started. So we will see how this will happen in the future. I would hope for the last one. So it is not coincidence that now we have in the world Tesla mania, if it's like that in English, whoever has some kind of intuition or has any knowledge speaks about Nikola Tesla. Doesn't matter if that is an astrologer or archaeologists speak or any researchers, they speak about Tesla. And why is it so? Well, it is most probably because Tesla came closest to the ancient knowledge of the builders of the pyramids, and also that knowledge that created Indian philosophical, spiritual, scientific thought. And I would not be surprised if we build pyramids or some buildings like that to save the planet, or even to connect with cosmic energies. And Tesla had some ideas how to do that. Tesla also defined in his work what is light, and I want to say something about that in this video. He said that light is the sound in the ether. I understood it when I studied modestly the Vedic tradition. Namely, hymns and mantras that are still sung and spoken in Sanskrit create a space for light, in which the man must live. The world was key in Vedas, so for all Indo-Europeans, the word is the key, especially also the mouth where the word is created. So the mouth was used to create sound, which created light, which was the ultimate goal in this system, as it is in many other spiritual systems today, to reach the light. And I want to emphasize that the space of light is the space where man must live, and he must continuously create it. If he stops creating that space of light, he will not have a space where he can live. This is as it was understood in Vedas. Life is the continuous creation of that. Life is continuous creation of that space, and that space is full of light. And if we forget to create it, and we fall back in materialism, nothing else awaits us but degeneration and some sort of end of existence of humans. The greatest enemy of light, of this creation of light, is laziness and conformity. This is the situation when man forgets to say the mantra, or he forgets to throw the wood on the fire. The fire is also that symbol of light. And he forgets that and he doesn't want to do that because he's lazy, or he thinks that somebody else will do it for him. This is the greatest horror, which leads to materialism. So the stories about human rights that they are talking now by those ruling structures who are imposed through America and Western countries are completely ridiculous. The more they talk about it, the more people are enslaved, let's say. And the more is obvious that we live in a colonialistic system. So that's what we need to do. We need to bring that light into our lives. And to bring light means to understand that we are not here to gain wealth. We are here to create that space where humans can live, which is the space of life. I think that can be maybe a little bit abstract for many people, but it is like that. I'm using this way to explain it through Vedas, but many other systems also know this. And now, with Pluto in Aquarius, true freedom is potentially before us. And it is very important that we learn to appreciate and to cherish this real freedom every day, with every word and with every thought. If we forget how to do it, and if somebody starts controlling us again, then we will be completely lost. Everything that will happen in the future years, especially those years now, next 3 or 5 years, will depend on our level of consciousness. We either start understanding what we need to do or we don't, and then that is the end. So only if we reach the appropriate level of consciousness, we will learn the secrets of pyramids. We will start using new, different technologies, different from those, and then we will avoid this devastation of our planet. And that is all for now that I wanted to say from this wonderful place, from Giza. If you like this video, like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel, and thank you very, very much for that. Feel free to schedule personal consultations with me. Everything that you need to know about my consultations is on my web pages, and the name of that is Symbolic Thinking. I have a new service on my web pages also. The name is The Change of Code, The Change of Perception. This is the method that I use with my clients, and I developed in recent years this method. And it helps people to work with their subconscious. I wish you, at the end, I wish you happiness. I wish you deep introspective experiences, and see you soon.